I'm gonna test my gunpowder measure. I got myself a mustard powder measure mold number 3 universal from Reading. It's been pretty reliable, but it didn't come with a baffle. A baffle is this piece of metal here that keeps the gunpowder flowing at an even rate, because if you have a full container of powder, if you have a full receptacle of gunpowder, then as you use it, as you dispense the powder, as it gets lower and lower, then the measure won't be the same. So that's if you don't have a baffle. But if you have a baffle, then the gunpowder will always be trickling down into the guts, where it actually gets measured at a fairly even rate. So I tried to buy one online, but I just couldn't find one. I found some in the US, but some websites said they couldn't ship to Australia. Some other websites said they could only sell 7 at a time, and then they're like freaking 15 bucks each. What was I gonna do with 6 spares? I only need 1. So I decided to make myself one. I basically manufactured one from a Milo tin lid. Just this little round bit here at the top. That's what it looks like now. It's in there. So now I need to test it to see if it will do the job, because as you can see, it's not perfect. There is a gap. There is a gap on one of the sides here, and a slight gap on this side here. So I don't know if that will affect the flow of powder. This is what I need to find out. So in order for me to know whether the powder measure is measuring powder consistently, I need to check it against the digital scales, which are very, very, very accurate. That's the whole plan for this video. Alright guys, so I hope you stay with me. Cheers. I made myself a little stand with a bit of plywood and some nice heavy duty bolts. whack the powder measure in place. I'm going to be loading some 223 Remington with 55 grain bullets, and I'm going to be using AR 2208. The load that I want to test is 24.6 grains. That's what I'm going to calibrate this for, and hopefully it'll throw consistent loads. We're going to put a few measures through so the powder settles. Okay, being very careful not to contaminate the gunpowder. Being very careful not to introduce any foreign material into the gunpowder. This is very, very sensitive. It could alter the load that we're shooting, that we're loading into our cartridges, and we will eventually shoot. So we need to be very, very careful not to contaminate the gunpowder. We're gonna pump through a couple more measures, reintroduce them back into the reservoir so that the powder settles. Okay, I will proceed now to start measuring and trying to get the actual load that I need. Okay, so here we go with the first check load. And that is 35.6, so we're way high. So we gotta recalibrate. We need to wind this back, wind this way back, and throw a couple more powders, a couple more measures. Okay, so here we go with another test drop. And as you can see, that's 26.9 grains. Just reduce it a little bit. Dump this powder into the trickler, just for the time being. I'm not adding that back into the reservoir because I want this to be as really realistic as possible. Okay. When I go to reload, the powder will be dropping as I measure and I put the powder into the cases. This will become emptier and emptier and emptier. That's the actual test that I want to carry out, is to see if the measurement stays consistent from when the powder is close to the top all the way down to when it's actually empty. That's the actual test that I'm trying to do. Our scales are nicely zeroed in. Very, very important to make sure that as you measure your powder, you do not spill any of it. Make sure that all the powder that you measure with the measure actually ends up in your pan and not out of the pan, because otherwise you end up with an inaccurate amount of gunpowder, and that can lead to disastrous and very dangerous conditions that may have very unfortunate results. 25.2 grains of powder, so we're almost in the ballpark. Now we know we dial it in. We had 25 grains, so we're almost there. We'll just give it another twist. Okay, and we'll do another test drop. Okay, on that particular drop, we went down from 25 down to 23.3, 23.4. Remember, we want 24.6. Stay with me, guys. We're almost there. One. Okay, that one ended up at 22.9. We're actually going backwards, so I need to increase it now. Okay, let's dial this up a little bit now. We need more than 23, so we're gonna do about that much. Okay, we're gonna measure that. 24.1. We're almost there, so we dial this up a little bit. Open it up. Scales are 0. Let's do another test drop. Ooh, 24.6, right on the money. So I'm gonna leave it there, and then now I'm just gonna consistently do about 10 in a row and see how many are the same and how many are different. Let's see whether this baffle that I manufactured, clandestine manufacturing, is gonna give me the results I need. Once you get your measurement adjustment where you want it, see this little nut on this side here? You can just tighten it and this thing won't move anymore. So we need to get as close to 24.6 as we can, and then we'll lock it in, Eddie. Okay. Oh man, look at that. We're right on the money. Ooh, it just changed to 24.5, so it just needs a minute amount. That would be like equal to maybe 2 little granules of powder, I reckon. Because it was showing 24.6 and then it changed to 24.5. So we zeroed our scale, do another powder drop. $24.5, 24.4. See, I would be happy with that. If it was throwing 24.4, 24.5, then I don't mind, because then I would just top it up with my trickler, and I'll show you that when we actually do the reloading. That's why the trickler is such an amazing little tool, because you can throw your powder measures, throw your powder very, very close to the mark, 0.1, 0.2 of a grain off, and then you can just trickle it and then have the exact powder measure that you need per cartridge. So let's do another check. $24.5. And we're dealing with very, very tiny amounts of gunpowder here. So I'm just gonna open this up a bit. Another line basically. $24.4. Making sure our scales are nicely zeroed. $24.6. I think I'll lock that in, Eddie. 24.6. I'm happy with that. $24.6. Beauty. Let's do another one. I'll show you what I mean by trickling in. $24.5. So now I just trickle in and get to my desired measure, which is 24.6. 24.6, that's our desired powder measure. That would just then be funneled into our case. $24.5. Do a trickle. 24.4, that's fine. 24.5, 24.6. Boom, funnel into my cartridge, move on to the next one. Do another powder drop. $24.5. $24.6. So the trickler, perfect. You couldn't do it any other way. You'd be going over and then have to re-empty it, do it again, and then trying to add it with a little scoop. You'd be there for hours. Just wouldn't be efficient enough. But a trickler does the trick. As the gunpowder gets lower and lower, it's giving me slightly different readings. It's not as accurate. $24.2. $24.7. So that's a big variation from 24.2 to 24.7. That's pretty massive. $24.3. It's getting pretty erratic, but that's because the reservoir is almost empty. Scales are zeroed. $24.5, 24.4. Powder measure is almost empty. Still got a few drops there though. See, that's way off the scale. That's 25.2. That's just too much. We need 24.6. Without any baffle whatsoever, I was getting those variations all along as I drop the powder charges. At least with this baffle, it seems to last longer where it's throwing consistent amounts of powder. So I'm happy with that. As the measure gets empty, the amounts of powder that are measured, are thrown, are just way too inconsistent. 0.1 of a grain of gunpowder will make a difference, let alone one whole grain or half a grain. Anyone with half a brain would know that. It seems to be giving me consistent powders up to about a third. Then I can just keep on adding powder until I finish the cartridges I'm loading, and that'll just assure that I don't have to be fiddling around with this all the time. So overall, my assessment of the baffle that I manufactured, the clandestine manufacturing, I'm happy with it. Conclusion of this experiment is that as long as I keep the gunpowder between a third and full, the baffle will assist me in giving me consistent charges, which will, as you can imagine, if you're loading 100 to 200 rounds at a time, then that'll just make it a lot easier. So overall conclusion is I'm happy with the results. The little device that I manufactured has helped me to achieve what I need to achieve, which is achieve consistent measures of powder before they're inserted into the cartridges that I'm trying to reload. Alright guys, thanks for hanging around. I know this video is probably going to end up a little bit long. I'll keep it to about 20 minutes if I can. I don't want to bore you with the same scales are zeroed. Thanks for watching the video, and remember, if you reload, you have to take absolute care and be absolutely certain that what you are doing is correct and you're not getting a false reading. and you're not getting an incorrect amount of gunpowder into your cartridge, because that can have serious, potentially serious consequences, even fatal consequences. I mean, it would be scary to begin with, to have a cartridge that is not loaded properly and go boom the wrong way, let alone if you end up with an injury. That would be devastating, and definitely something you don't need. So it's up to you, the reloader, to follow all the safety directions, follow all the rules, make no mistakes. You cannot afford to make any mistakes, and achieve the aims that you've trying to achieve, making sure that you take the time and care to reload carefully to have a safe cartridge. Alright guys, take it easy, and I'll catch you on the next one. Alright, take it easy, cheers and happy reloading. I just top it up with a trickler, 24.4, see? Or with my talking, I could be blowing air. Look at that, I barely even breathe into the, even just by talking into it, look, it changes the amount of pressure. Even if I blow with my finger, with my hand, look at that. You can just imagine the amount of air that I'm blowing just by doing that with my hand. Changes the reading. Or if I just talk near it, look at that, it just hello, hello, 1, 2, 3. Very sensitive. Okay, our pan is completely empty. I don't know why my scales need to be zeroed in every single time. It's just really starting to piss me off. I asked you not to make noise, mate. Don't touch the camera, please. This is it's a very sensitive area of operations here, buddy. You're gonna learn to reload, mate. Don't bump the camera, mate.
Can you help me get up?
Hang on. No, you can't get up because I'm doing my video. 24.6.
Okay, bye Dad.
Bye, mate.